Cayden Steele joins us right now on Birds 365. Here he is. You can follow him at Cayden_Steele19. Read him at NJ.com. Cayden, what's up, man? Welcome to the program this Monday morning.
How you guys doing? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, good to see you, buddy. We'll talk about your trip to Foxborough. But first, we got into a Greenard conversation. How bullshit was that when that injury first came out? It was like, we don't expect it to be long-term, blah, blah, blah. And then Vic gets up there every week, and it's another week. It's another week.
Yeah. Well, you'd think he would be back after, or at least by now. I thought it would be like late training camp or kind of entering that stage. Let's see if he's doing any, work with trainers off to the side this week. I mean, we haven't even seen that really. I mean,
he's always out there, but he's just watching,
just watching, not doing any physical work. I'm starting to get a little worried that, he won't be ready for the year. I think it's
I think we're already there for my concern is is this a half season injury? I'm starting to get to that point.
Yeah. And then you add on the fact that he was also hurt last year with a shoulder injury and missed time. It's not gotten off to the best start for Jonathan Greenard. I'm not, super worried about when he gets on the field because he is still a pretty, good player. But he got injured last year. Now he's injured again. So it's reason to be kind of concerned. And then the fact that he's not coming back. I like that Vic keeps it straight. Every time
I know.
Vic, it's a different answer than Howie and Nick. So that part of it's fun. But
it's honest. Maybe they should try that instead of, because it fuels speculation. If you say, it's short term, he should be back. And it doesn't prove to be the case. But all right, let's get to Foxborough. You were there for the joint practices. You were there for the game. Apologies for that. What'd you take away from each? And we'll start with the joint practices because that's the players who are going to be playing. I kind of took it a different way, and then I'll let you take the baton. Day one, and this is all, I wasn't there, so this is just all from reports from you guys. I didn't think it was as bad as most people said because I thought the running game was really good, and I think that's what this offense is going to be built on. And then day two, I think a bunch of you guys got Sugar Ray Leonard. Look, and when I say that, you're younger. Sugar Ray's a great defensive boxer, and he would always, when he got older, he would always spike the last 30 seconds of a round. So he just played defense and then flurry at the end of the round, and everybody would go, oh, Sugar Ray won that round. The Eagles had the great last drive, both offense and defense, but all you guys said they looked like shit for most of the practice. So I said maybe it was better than reported Monday and worse than reported Tuesday. So there you go.
Yeah, I guess day one for the offense, I would agree the running game, especially at least the first half of the practice, or I would say even 3/4 of the practice, was dominant. The Patriots had no answers for Saquon Barkley, even Will Shipley. Will Shipley was incredible on that Wednesday practice, and the Eagles dictated whatever they wanted to do. And, all the outside zone runs, they were hitting them for large gains, even before Tank left practice because he's dealing with something, was pretty efficient on a couple of runs. They really controlled the line of scrimmage. So I do think that is a positive. I guess, the passing game is still a work in progress, but they're also without Devontae Smith and Mekhi Lemon. So they're kind of really shorthanded here still. So I thought the passing game was rough at points, especially on day one. I guess another thing I noticed was, even though I think the offensive line did a great job in run blocking, I felt like on day one that the interior pass protection for Hurts wasn't very consistent. I thought Milton Williams was disruptive. I thought there was moments Barrymore was getting in the backfield on passing downs as well, which I think made some of those throws from Hurts be off because there was a hand in his face. And it didn't always equate to a sack, but it was like Hurts is releasing the ball and there's a hand in his face, or there's something, a guy breaking through the interior offensive line. So I thought the pass protection was a little spotty at times, and I think the passing game overall was,
by the way, those are two good defensive tackles.
Yes. So they are good, but I thought the passing game was a bigger problem than the run game. And I didn't watch much of the defense on day one, but Riq Woolen, the glimpses I saw, Riq Woolen really struggled that day. A.J. Brown just he got the best of them. And overall, the defense, the reports were, people were watching the defense heavily, that the defense struggled. And then day 2, I watched more of the defense, and I feel like I got like the Riq Woolen experience of like what it's going to be like. Like there might be some moments where he's pretty bad, but there's also going to be some moments where he's incredible. I do think it's going to be a very boom or bust like experience, which I think I would rather have him, making plays. He got the interception, some PBUs. I mean, the recovery speed, just some of the plays he was making on the football were incredible. I think I would rather take that. And where he also forced the interception to JAKIB, where he, in good coverage against AJ, and the ball ended up popping out, and JAKIB ended up, diving for the interception. I think I would rather have that experience than the Adoree Jackson experience, because I think the upside is so much higher. And I do think he bounced back in a major way Thursday. And I thought the defense overall was good. I think the run defense was good. I think Zach Bond was awesome. I think JAKIB's Hunt was incredible on Thursday as well. So I didn't watch the defense on the first day, but compared to the reports, I thought they won the day in that period. I didn't get to see the offense as much in the second day because they're on the other side of the field and so many guys standing around. It was kind of hard to see. But they look good in the individual period or the situational period where Jalen rolled out and threw a touchdown to Hollywood Brown. Then he hit Darius Cooper, so they finished strong. But I mean, of course, this offense is still a work in progress.
Glad to see Hollywood making a play. Glad to see that. Yeah.
He's looked better recently. I mean, I don't know if I have like super high expectations still, but it seems like at least like you could blame some of it might be just like miscues between him and Jalen, not having chemistry, because they're starting to connect a little bit.
Now the game. It seems like there's been a seismic shift in the backup quarterback talk. Tanner played very well statistically. Andy did not look good, but, up to this point, it's been pretty consistent. No matter what the Eagles say, oh, it's even, every time Andy starts both games, Andy gets more second team reps. To this point, it seems like they have basically signaled by their actions that they believe Andy Dalton is farther along than Tanner McKee. Then you have the conspiracy people. They're just showcasing him. But I got to tell you, if they're showcasing Andy Dalton just to turn a 7th round pick into a 5th round pick and all that nonsense, well, what harm does that do to Tanner McKee not getting all these second team reps? He had played poorly throughout the spring, most of the summer, and he looked great on what night was that? Friday night, Saturday night. He looked great. But a lot of that was due to your brother from another mother, the great Carson Steele. These flat passes. I'm like, look, I don't know. Obviously, you're not game planning. I don't know what the New England defense was doing, but these were just simple dump off, wide open throws to the flat. For whatever reason, they were ignoring the flat with Carson Steele, Cam Latu as well. How much do you evaluate and say, oh, he played really great versus preseason lies to you?
Yeah, I don't know. This one's been tough because I think I've been on the first couple of weeks of training camp. I thought Dalton was better, more efficient, more precise, whatever. He just seemed more comfortable in the offense. I think over the last week and a half, it's gotten a lot closer. And I think Tanner was better in joint practices than Andy as well. I think Andy's, I think it's fair to say the arm is just nowhere close as what it used to be. It's just the Eli Stowers throw where he missed. I thought he was pretty poor on Saturday. I thought he was really up and down in joint practices. I just don't know if I feel like he's definitely seized the job. But I see your point with the reps. They keep running him with the second team. He keeps starting these games, and it makes you think why. I get why maybe some people, and I think there might be a part where, they're willing to deal Andy, but I don't know if they're necessarily thinking about it in that fashion. I don't know that. To me, it just doesn't make sense. I think at first I was leaning Andy, but the more I think about it, it's like, this is a team that has valued Tanner McKee very highly. I mean, fans obviously have liked him, but like internally as well. I mean, this is a team where there has been, trade interest for Tanner McKee. I don't get the point of, in the past there has been trade interest and you've held on to him because you view him so highly. Internally, they've spoken so highly about Tanner McKee. They think they have a really young, interesting developmental quarterback with so much upside. And I get there's a new system, all that, but all of a sudden he's the third string quarterback and you're willing to potentially deal him for like a 7th round pick. Or a 6th round pick. I don't get that. And I still think Tanner brings a little more upside to the position because I think his arm is better than what
I agree with you. First of all, I think Tanner's got a much higher upside. And if, God forbid Jalen Hurts gets hurt and you got to play somebody 17 games, I'd rather play Tanner McKee. But if you got to play somebody 1 game because of a sprained ankle and you got to win late in the season, I'd probably go Andy Dalton. That's kind of how I weigh it. Now, to your point about, you're right, just like, behind the scenes, it's been all glory for Tanner McKee. It's been all kumbaya. We love him. We love him. As I forgot, because I'm getting older and we were just discussing it earlier in the show, I forgot about Kenny Pickett. Nobody wanted Kenny Pickett to be the backup. He was the backup.
Yeah.
Then it comes 12 months later, and everybody thought, well, they're going to move Kenny Pickett so Tanner can have the backup job. Turns out they wanted to keep Kenny Pickett. And Kenny said, I'd rather go compete somewhere else where I might have a chance to earn a job, as silly as that might be to all of us. And remember, by the way, when Tanner hurt his thumb early last season, they went out and got Sam Howell.
Yeah.
I am starting to believe that all the stuff that you've heard and I've heard and everybody around the team has heard, and how much that like Tanner McKee is all a little bit overblown.
Yeah. I'll say it's definitely weird, like what they say versus what the actions align to. I'm starting to think I don't really get what the Andy Dalton trade is. I wrote a 53 the other day. My prediction, I did predict they could get some value for Dalton, and I ended up leaving him off the roster because I think Tanner has more upside, and I think you could potentially get a team to buy, watching the Dolphins backup quarterback situation and how horrendous that looks, and other teams around the league. You think you could get maybe what you traded for Andy back in return, but what's the point in all of this is more of my question. I don't get
I didn't get the trade. If you believed in Tanner McKee, bottom line, if you believed in Tanner McKee as your backup quarterback, you would not have made that trade. Period. Yeah. End of sentence in my estimation. And you don't make that trade.
No, and I get Andy knows the system because he was there early on with Zach Taylor, and he was there with Dave Canales, which was kind of along that tree a little bit. But at the same time, is that a guy that wanted to sign off just to come here for the summer to help install the system, help Jalen get comfortable? To me, things don't really add up, and I'm curious to see how this ultimately goes because I do think Tanner's been better over the last week, and even though I thought Andy was better recently, Andy's been rough recently. I don't think he's
it wasn't good. It's interesting because he had 3 drives, I think. The first drive and the third drive were brutal.
Mm-hmm.
The second drive was good, though. And the pass to Cooper, that was the best pass of the day for the Eagles from just playing the quarterback position, from just the quarterback. The Carson Steele plays are bigger plays than highlights, but those are, okay, he's wide open in the flat. Just throw it out there. He can catch the football. And I want to talk to you about Carson Steele, but the best throw of the game from playing the quarterback position was that, and I think Andy talked about it, was the fourth read, processing. It was the best. So if you're just doing it, putting on the blinders and saying, all right, who's playing the quarterback position better? I think it's still Andy Dalton, but I'm obviously out on an island.
I think Andy Dalton processes things better than Tanner. I think sometimes Tanner, especially in practice, holds the ball a little too long, and it takes a while for some of that stuff to develop, and some of the timing and rhythms off with him. I just don't. I do agree with that. I just think Andy's arm just it's just not there anymore. And
Well, yeah, and that's what I said to Xander. If you think he's washed physically, I mean, that's different.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's washed, he's washed. Yeah, that's to me is legitimate. If you can't perform the task of the position anymore, I mean,
yeah, and I think that's where I'm closer to with Andy. I don't want to use the word watch, but I think he is. I don't think he brings you as much upside. Sure, he might play better in one game, but if Jalen, misses a month or something, and I think Andy Dalton's your quarterback, your offense is going to be so limited in what it can do. Andy might be able to, check in and out of plays and process things better, but if he's not able to get to the ball where it needs to go, does it really matter at that point? I think I'd rather take the chance with Tanner, kind of needing to learn a little more of this offense and growing pains because the arm talent is still there. I think he can still push the ball, where I don't think Andy can at all at this point.
Yeah, we'll see what it looks like. Cayden, after a week of seeing these two teams together, joint practices and then the preseason game, who to you did any team look to you like they were just better than the other football team out there? Did they both look like they were contenders? I mean, the Patriots are a team that just came off a Super Bowl performance and, in my opinion, in some areas got better on their roster. I mean, they did add A.J. Brown, How did the Eagles look stacking up to a team like the Patriots to you throughout the week?
I think both teams look pretty good. Like, I don't know. It's hard to say winners and losers in practice, but I think New England's the skill players are so much better. Obviously, AJ. I mean, if anyone thought AJ was done, I mean, completely wrong. He looked fantastic, even on both days, especially on the first day. But I mean, he looked closer, to that 2023 version, and then he did last year. I mean, he just looked awesome. I think Romeo Doubs looked really well as well. I think the New England has a better offense this year. I know they were a productive offense last year, but they're way more dangerous. I think the one area where the Eagles were better ultimately is we talked about the run game on Wednesday, and then I think they were disruptive, pass rush wise on Thursday. I think they're better at the line of scrimmage than New England. Like, I think the Eagles D line is better than the Patriots O line. And even though I said on Wednesday, I think the interior protection was a little spotty at times, and I think there's reason to be concerned maybe about Landon Dickerson and in there as well. With he had a rough one-on-one rep, and I know it's one-on-one, but like I think all summer it's just like Landon hasn't moved particularly well. I think there's reason to be a little concerned there, but I think overall the run game dominance that they set on Wednesday was pretty impressive. But I think the Patriots are going to be good. I mean, I think there's concerns about their pass rush on the edge. I don't think they didn't threaten Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata at all. And there's some questions on that team, but I mean, Drake May looked pretty good. Have a good passing offense now with Doubs and AJ. Like, they should be, one of the best four or five teams in the AFC. I know that the schedule's harder, but I do think they got better. And then, John pointed out, I mean, they have a very good interior defensive line as well. I mean, they're deep there as well. They have Corey Durden as well. Like, they have some pieces. I think New England was pretty impressive, but I don't know if anyone won the day. Like, I think the Eagles were more physical. They came out with like more energy on Thursday. Well, and I thought they set the tone a little better than New England. And then the first day, I mean, New England, I think because of the offensive performance and what they were able to do in the passing game, that kind of surprised me. So I think a lot of people had New England winning that day. I'm not sure who won or lost, but I think they were evenly matched, pretty close.
Yeah. Two good teams practicing. They probably both got better coming out of it. That's all practice is designed to be. So I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was a very positive thing to do from the coaching staff's perspective. So that should be all that matters. But we know how life is now. Everything's got to be a winner loser. And I want to talk about Carson Steele, not because we have Cayden Steele, but I find it interesting because I see some seismic shifts. Now, I only do 2 53s. I do one before camp and one right before the final cut. So after Friday's game, I'll do my initial 53. But a lot of people have to do them every week. You've done a bunch of them. I find it interesting the seismic shifts for Tanner McKee. Now, a lot of people had Andy, and now a lot of people have Tanner. A lot of people look at Willie Lampkin, and and Willie's been great, and he's a lock. The best player on the field on Saturday night was Carson Steele. Not only was he good, but it was spectacular with the hurdles. And nobody talks about that. Well, that's preseason. Carson Steele, blah, blah, blah. Which I agree with, by the way. But why isn't Carson Steele getting the big spike coming out of that game?
Yeah, I think part of it is, they're able to get him on a futures deal. It didn't, I'm guessing the interest around the league wasn't like super high in him. I mean, he's looked good in preseason before for Kansas City. I mean, he was on the active roster and got carries in the rest of the season. He's not like he's a total unknown in the NFL.
I didn't know he's that kind of athlete, because you look at 4.77 or whatever he ran, and people called him a fullback. He's playing running back here. But I mean, he's pretty damn athletic. I can say that.
I talked to him after the game. I think it's one of the things I asked him. I mean, he talked about like the strengths of his game. He's always known he's had the vision and the patience as like a bigger back to like pick the right holes and be physical. But I mean, he also talked about people they sleep on his athleticism, and he saw that when he hurdled multiple defenders. I mean, he was incredible, and I ultimately left him off my 53 because I'm not sure.
Well, you have to. I mean,
he just doesn't make sense to keep 4 running backs unless you think he's a fullback, but they haven't been using a fullback in practice.
No, they haven't.
Like, I also left off Letu for that reason. I could see Letu making it because of the blocking at tight end, but like I think Carson Steele. The one thing I will say is like they do seem to like him though. He does get some first team reps with the kickoff coverage unit. Like I think that's somewhat notable that he's been on a lot of the special teams throughout preseason. It's a guy to me that would make a lot of sense to get back on the practice squad as your 4th running back and someone you can elevate to play special teams potential. I mean, he was awesome. I mean, he was the best.
He was great, man. He was great. To your point about I wasn't going to go down that route, but you brought up Latu. I'm going to have him on the 53 because of his versatility. He can line up at fullback. He can play tight end. He's a good special teams player. But even further than that, and this is interesting, like I mean, Eli Stowers is going to be a game day inactive to start. I'm convinced. Then you need 3 tight ends, so you'll need Goddard, Muntz, and presumably Cam Latu, unless you're an EJ Jenkins fan, which some people are.
Yeah, I'm starting to think, I know, and I left Letu off not because I don't think he's a valuable player, because I mean he wasn't claimed last year. He didn't play a ton of snaps. Even last year, he put a limited role. I don't know if he's getting claimed by another team. I feel like
I don't think that's another conversation. I don't think he get claimed, but.
So I left him off because I think you could sneak him through. I think it's more likely the Eagles add another tight end that's not Cameron Latu that has some pass catching upside. I don't know.
What are the Rams 75 tight ends? Trade for one of them.
Yeah, one of them or somewhere in the NFL. They're gonna have to find a guy that has some pass catching upside in case Dallas Goedert gets hurt. Because I agree. I think Eli Stowers, I am not out on. I think, even on that route where Andy Dalton missed him, he looked more explosive on that route than he did in any route in practice so far. But he's still a long ways to go. I mean, he's still learning how to block. I think he's still overthinking on the field. Like, I think this is going to be at least like, you're not going to see him make an impact until like halfway through the year. Like maybe like October, November, it starts to click from a little bit and they start giving him a role in offense. But first month of the season, I don't think he's going to be ready. So I think tight end's a move that we could potentially see because Johnny Munt, great blocking tight end. He brings you such a low ceiling as a pass catcher. The same thing for Latu. It's never happened for him as a pass catcher. He's been a good run blocker. Maybe you bring Grant Calcaterra back on the practice squad because at least that he could do it. I mean, Grant Calcaterra could do it as a pass catcher for a game or two. We've seen him before, so maybe you bring him back. But yeah, I think tight end surprisingly
going to make it. Oh man,
no, I don't think he'll make it, but I wouldn't be shocked if he's back on the practice squad.
What's his Tim McMahon? Buddy, Tim McManus did have him on his and has his 53 at his roster today.
That to me, that's a tough sell because Stowers can't block and Calcaterra can't block.
Yeah, exactly. No, I don't see that.
Yeah, you don't hear Grant's name mentioned much. Maybe that's Tim's trying to play strategy. Nobody's going to put Calcaterra in if you win.
We'll be the ones wrong. You'll end up beyond that. But tight end is surprisingly, I think, a weakness for this team. I mean, at least the pass catching upside and the depth in the area. Like they wanted to change the identity, so they brought in Johnny Mundt, and he's like the main backup, and he's going to play in 12 personnel. But like, they don't have that guy on this roster, and I think they were.
The whole Johnny Mundt thing just mystifies me, Cayden. The guy has never played more than, I think, 450. It was 460 snaps his entire career. He's always been like a tight end 3. Jacksonville cut him. Minnesota had no interest in bringing him back, and now he gets here and he's a deference player, and people act like he's Mark Bavaro and this great. I don't get it.
Yeah,
I don't get it. Like, you should be trying to find a tight end that pushes him out.
Yeah,
his contract, it was what minimum, veteran minimum. And they just can't find a tight end to compete. It's not a good sign for the tight end position as a whole.
No, I think Muntz looked well in practice as a run blocker, but again, like you said, I think he's more suited as your tight end 3. And if Eli Stowers is not ready to be your tight end 2, and he can't offer anything as a pass catcher in the first few months of the season or all year, you're going to have to find someone. And I don't think Grant Calcaterra is that guy ultimately. I mean, like, maybe they bring him back on the practice squad as a safety net. You're going to probably have to add there, which I didn't expect. Like, I think tight end, that is the one position I'm most shocked about. I mean, I don't feel great about the depth. I mean, like, Goddard's another year older now too. Like, I get he was awesome last year, especially in the red zone. I mean, set record for tight ends for touchdowns. Like, I get that, but he's a year older. Like, he stayed healthy last year primarily. I mean, he only missed one game, I believe. Like, first time in the years he's been like healthy for the majority of the season. Is that going to happen again? Has he found the luck as he's gotten older? I think tight end is a position that generally there should be some concern about right now.
All right, I'm going to let you. Well, I forgot. I'm sorry to jump in, Xander, but I want to give Cayden to make his Josh Weru case. I forgot. I was going to. A lot of hype for Josh Weru. Same thing. I'm like, you can't keep 2 international. I'm being very disciplined with this, Cayden. That's what I told Xander earlier in the show. They're going to keep Uar on the 53. They're going to put Josh on the practice squad with the IPP exemption. So he's got to get through waivers. I'm not keeping them both. We hear Vic talk every week. Look, they're long-term projects. They want to work with both of them. I want Weru here, but I can't keep him on the 53. I'm being very disciplined. I am not changing no matter what happens. He's not ready to play. Jose Ramirez is more ready to play. They're not keeping him. But make your case for the great Josh Weru.
I would, and I get it. And it's hard to justify keeping 2 guys that aren't going to play in games this year. Obviously, there's some roster mechanics that they could ultimately go down. Like, do they keep both, and then do they put them on IRs at different time to save up other roster? Like, there's different stuff that they could do with the 2 guys. I think the reason I had Weru on and I just don't think he gets through waivers. I mean, I think he's had enough flashes in the preseason game, and I get he's still a project, but the way he moves is unique, and the size is unique. And I get he's such a ball of clay, and he is super raw. Not every team is going to want to take on something like that. I have to think there is one team that would be willing to, like a rebuilding team out there. I don't know, like the Cardinals or the Dogs, like someone early in the waiver wire. If he plays really well in the 3rd preseason game as well and gets another sack, and I just think you're going to have a hard time getting through. Like, everyone talks about you are. Weru is farther ahead than Bernard right now. I think he's equally, I mean, he's not as impressive as an athlete, but he is still an elite athlete. Like, he is a high level, like, freaky athlete off the edge. And I think the upside is really high, and he seems more comfortable as a football player right now than you are. And I think you are making some progress in that game against the Patriots, but I think for where Weru came in versus where he is now, it's very impressive. I thought he's looked good in one-on-ones in practice as well. He's like super long, and he bends really well. Like, there is obviously a long way to go still, but the physical tools are so intriguing. And I think the progress he's just shown in 2 or 3 weeks is enough where I could see someone saying, like, taking a dart throw, like, we'll claim him and we'll let him sit for a year, and you lose him. So I get it, like, your perspective, and you don't want to keep 2 guys, but if you really want him, I'm not sure if you're getting him through waivers.
Yeah, you might be right about that. I don't know. I mean, it feels far fetched, but you're not wrong about it. I don't know what they're going to do there. Cayden, did you see anything from Sean Mannion? Did you learn anything about Sean Mannion this week?
Yeah, I don't know. It's really tough to tell,
Yeah, you can't tell.
in these practices or even in the game because it's so vanilla that
Is he heading to the box? Is he going to stay in the box now after a little bit of success?
I know. I guess we'll find out when we when we talk to
Yeah,
him.
he's talking
Next-
today. He doesn't want any part of the box. Let's be
That's
honest.
Nick. That's Nick pushing his ass up there.
No, I mean I can't tell you for certain like whether based off these practices or games I feel like Sean Mannion is gonna be good or bad. One reason or another. I guess the only thing I can really point to is like I do feel confident like the system he's bringing in is going to help the rushing offense with Saquon and Tank, and like I think they're going to run the ball really
And
well.
Don't forget Will
And
and
I
the
wanna
great
forget
Carson
Will.
Steele. No,
Yeah, so I do think this Sean Mannion system is going to help the offense in some ways, especially on the ground game. But I feel like for me to come with any firm takes on whether he's going to be a great coordinator or help Jalen or anything, I don't know if I can say one way or
he's
another.
the greatest since Bill Walsh. That's what we want, kid. The greatest since Bill Walsh. No, I'm with you. People ask me that question all the time. I'm like, we don't know. And that'll unveil itself, just like Sean Mannion did to Nick Sirianni in the interview process. I think he said he revealed himself. He will reveal himself in the regular season, good or bad. Hopefully good from the Eagles' perspective. I know Cayden Steele's good every time we have him on, does a tremendous job. Good catching up with you as somebody was on boots on the ground in Foxborough. How's the new facility there, by the way?
Yeah, I think it's nice. I mean, yeah, it was nice. It's an interesting location, obviously, because it's behind the stadium. I actually kind of like that. I think having directly behind is interesting. But yeah, I think the new stadium's nice. The media workroom was nice. It was overall a good experience.
Better than our media workroom?
Yeah, probably more spacey. It's much bigger. I mean, you have they had a lot more space, I would say, in there than our
top tier internet. I think internet matters. Is it top tier internet or what?
Internet was solid, free internet. You didn't have to plug a password in, and if you get a new laptop and you don't know what the password is for a month, like I did this year, password.
I'm scared to death to get a new laptop because I don't know I don't know how to carry over my passwords. I feel your pain. At Cayden_Steele 19. Make sure you follow him on the X platform. NJ.com. Read him all the time. Does a tremendous job, as you see here. We're lucky enough to have him. I will see you down there later.
Yep.
All right, bud. Thanks.
Thanks, Cayden. Appreciate it, man.